This is Part 2, Episode 163. A densely packed group of people gathered outside of Wasteland Town the next day. Noise mingled together and turned into a loud tide that spread into the distance. Xiao Yan's group stood at the back. They studied the 1,000+ people gathered in front and involuntarily shook their heads in a speechless manner. It was the first time that they had seen experts gather in such a scale. A short distance in front of this enormous group was an original forest that was filled with an ancient aura. 1,000-foot-tall trees stood like numerous giants. The trees blotted out the sun. Even the light from the sky had difficulty lighting up the forest. At a glance, the deepest parts of the forest were permeated with a frightening darkness. Occasionally, some ferocious beast roars were emitted from within, causing one to feel a chill within one's heart. These people have all been lured by the Bodhisattva ancient tree to the point of losing their reasoning. Xiao Yan shook his head. The ancient wasteland region was called the Forbidden Grounds of Humans. Even an elite Dozun would likely die after entering it. However, many of those gathered here only had the strength of Dozongs, or even Do Huangs. If these people entered the ancient region, any trouble they met would kill them. They would turn into fertilizer for the towering trees. However, this ancient wasteland region is indeed quite terrifying, the little fairy doctor softly stated. Everyone felt tiny beneath the giant trees. One felt an insignificance when viewing an extremely long number of years that stretched back to ancient times. This region was known as the oldest place on the continent. Xiao Yan nodded. He withdrew his scanning eyes. There were too many people present. He was unable to find a familiar figure. After withdrawing his gaze, a commotion began to gradually spread across this enormous crowd. It seemed that these people were planning to charge in. Rumble. Thousands of people ran, causing the land to tremble and rumble. Loud roars sounded as countless numbers of figures rushed away with a swish sound and anxiously charged into this quiet ancient region. Xiao Yan could not help but shake his head as he watched the frightening activity these people created. He softly said, "We will enter after most of them have gone in. Since they wish to be the ones at the front lines, we'll let them do as they please." The little fairy doctor's trio smiled and nodded upon hearing Xiao Yan's words. The group sat in a quiet spot. They waited for around half an hour before Xiao Yan finally got up. He looked at the forest, which appeared chaotic due to the large number of people. Only then did he wave his hand and say, "Let's get moving. Everyone, be careful." Xiao Yan's toes pressed on the ground after his words sounded. He took the lead as he transformed into a black figure that charged toward the ancient forest with lightning-like speed. Cai Lin, the little fairy doctor, and the others followed close behind. The light around Xiao Yan suddenly dimmed the moment he charged into the ancient forest. Waves of the scent of rotten leaves spread in all directions. Xiao Yan's figure paused for a moment after entering the forest. He glanced at the many small groups a short distance away, but he did not have any intention of stopping and chatting with them. His toes pressed on a tree branch, and his figure continued to hurry forward. Xiao Yan's group was quite fast. Within less than 10 minutes, they had already advanced over 5 kilometers. There was no unexpected occurrences along the way. Even though they occasionally met one or two ferocious beasts, these beasts would be attacked by everyone as a group and be turned into mincemeat. Although the journey was smooth, Xiao Yan ended up knitting his brow. The ancient wasteland region was known as Forbidden Ground to humans. It was impossible for it to be this peaceful. This place might only be an edge, but things should not be this smooth. A caution gradually rose in Xiao Yan's heart when these thoughts appeared. His forward-moving speed had slightly slowed. All he did was follow the large group in front from afar. With these people as the scouts, Xiao Yan's group would have sufficient time to react even if something unexpected occurred. Cai Lin and the others understood the thoughts in Xiao Yan's heart. Hence, they remained cautious as well. The caution felt by Xiao Yan's group increased as they gradually traveled farther from the border of the ancient wasteland region. A couple of figures flashed through the dimly lit forest and came to an abrupt halt on a huge tree. "A poison fog has risen around here," the little fairy doctor's pretty eyes swept around her. She was extremely attuned to poison fog. Hence, she detected the poison vapor the moment it appeared. Xiao Yan's group was slightly startled when they heard her warning. A poison in this ancient wasteland region was an extremely troublesome problem. If one inhaled too much, even an elite dozun would end up dying from it. Consume these poison-resisting pills. It will help resist this poison. The little fairy doctor smiled. She handed a couple of scarlet medicinal pills out to Xiao Yan's group. She was indeed inferior to Xiao Yan when it came to pill refinement, but her understanding of poison was likely at a level where even 10 Xiao Yan were inferior to her. Xiao Yan shrugged his shoulders. He took the medicinal pill and stuffed it in his mouth. He was just about to speak, when the group in front suddenly transmitted miserable screeches, causing some chaos. Looks like they have been poisoned, Xiao Yan shook his head. The poisonous vapor in this place was quite lethal. If one's strength was inadequate, inhaling even a little of it could be fatal. These people had tasted the terrible fate from being overconfident. Let's get moving, Xiao Yan softly spoke after watching everyone consume the poison-resisting pill. They increased their speed. He did not possess the heart to rescue all those unlucky individuals. Since they had come this far and couldn't resist the greed in their hearts, they were responsible for their own fates. With the increase in their speed, the surrounding poison fog became denser. Those miserable cries that were being transmitted also became sharper. In the end, a wild and violent do qi fluctuation was emitted. It was likely from some of the poisoned experts, who had lost their sense of reasoning. Bang! Xiao Yan's group frowned as they shuttled through the poison fog. An extremely intense do qi fluctuation was suddenly transmitted from a short distance in front of them. Xiao Yan's brow twitched when he sensed this fluctuation. He reduced his speed, and his body appeared on the ground. He looked at a completely black corpse on the empty ground in front of him. The face of the corpse still retained fear and regret. An elite dozun, Xiao Yan softly sighed. This unlucky fellow was a genuine dozun. It was unexpected that even an expert was unable to endure the poison. The poison in this place is likely a little mysterious. An elite dozun is able to unleash his do qi and wrap it around his body. An ordinary poison would be useless against them. Xiao Yan revealed an expression of contemplation as he muttered. The little fairy doctor was startled when she heard this. She immediately nodded and grabbed some poisonous vapor in her hand before absorbing it into her body. Her delicate figure suddenly trembled a moment later while her face turned quite ugly. What's the matter? Xiao Yan hurriedly asked when he saw the little fairy doctor's ugly expression. The little fairy doctor gently exhaled. She softly said, "It is indeed strange. This is not poison, but it is poisonous worms." Poisonous worms? Xiao Yan was startled. His eyes stared at the poison fog, but he did not find any traces of poisonous worms. These poisonous worms are extremely tiny. They are so small that they are invisible to the naked eye. They drift within this forest. Those people have sucked in hundreds of millions of tiny poisonous worms. It is likely that these things also exist in your bodies. My body hides an extremely lethal poison. They will be poisoned to death by my poison qi the moment they enter my body. Hiss. Xiao Yan's group involuntarily inhaled a breath of cold air when they heard her words. Their bodies felt completely numb. Xiao Yan reacted quickly after feeling numb for a moment. The heavenly flame within his body suddenly began to circulate. It swept over every part of his body, and its high temperature seeped into his blood vessels. While Xiao Yan was circulating his heavenly flame, a chirping sound that caused one's skin to turn numb suddenly rang out. It appeared as though a countless number of poisonous worms were being burned to death in an instant. These damn things. Xiao Yan's expression was gloomy. He flicked his finger and clusters of black ashes shot out from it. They were the ashes from those poisonous worms that had entered his body. Xiao Yan swiftly gathered a cluster of heavenly flames within his hand after expelling the poisonous worms in his body. He subsequently slapped the flames into Kailin, Qinglin, and the elder called Qing Cheng. Its high temperature entered their bodies through their skin, and a chirping cry was also emitted from their bodies, causing one's heart to feel cold. Do not step out of a 50-foot radius around me. These poisonous worms can ignore the dou qi protecting one's body. Xiao Yan's eyes cautiously swept around him as he opened his mouth and exhaled. A cluster of purple-brown flames with a trace of white floated above his head as a frighteningly high temperature spread apart, and coincidentally covered the area within a 50-foot radius around him. The poison fog appeared to be startled when this high temperature spread. It quickly pulled away, and no longer dared to permeate the 50-foot radius around Xiao Yan. Just this layer of poison fog alone will be able to block 80% of the people. This ancient wasteland region does live up to its reputation. Xiao Yang sighed in relief after expelling the poison fog. If not for the little fairy doctor's ability to detect poisons, the amount of poison worms in their bodies would have increased. Once the number of poison worms had reached a frightening level, they would have caused their group to suffer heavy casualties and injuries. He, however, just this alone will not be able to block us. Xiao Yang clenched his hand. His eyes were fiery hot, as he looked toward the deeper regions of the ancient wasteland region. It was likely that some of those experts with ability had already charged in. Hence, he also needed to increase his speed. He would definitely obtain the Bodhisattva heart. Miserable sharp screams continued to echo through the forest, which was saturated by a poison fog. These screams caused the forest to appear extremely sinister. The rushing sound of wind suddenly appeared within the dense poison fog. Some light from a flame vaguely cast a shadow. The surrounding poison fog seemed to be scared when the cluster of fire appeared. The poison fog withdrew on its own accord, forming a clear path. It seems that these poisonous worms are quite afraid of the heavenly flame. The little fairy doctor examined the path that had formed in front of them. She spoke with a smile. Most poisonous worms are yin and chilly in nature. A heavenly flame is a strong yang with a natural heat. The worms are naturally afraid of it. Xiao Yang smiled. He turned his head and looked ahead. The ancient wasteland region lives up to its reputation. Xiao Yang softly sighed in his heart once again. This was only the outer region. He did not know what kind of obstructions he would meet once he headed deeper. The poison fog is gradually thinning. It seems that we are about to get through this region. Cai Lin looked at their surroundings. It was a little clearer compared to earlier, causing her to make a statement. Let's speed up. My retreat this time has delayed us. Some of the bigger factions within the Central Plains have probably entered the middle section of the ancient wasteland region. Xiao Yang nodded. His toes pressed on the ground, and his body shot forth like an arrow being released from a bow. A couple of figures followed him with lightning-like speed. Kaylin's senses were correct. The surrounding poison fog began to gradually thin as their group ventured deeper. In the end, the poison fog completely disappeared. Xiao Yang's group leaped onto a large rock after they charged out of the poison fog. Their eyes swept over the land in front of them, only to see a mountain stream that was thousands of feet wide. The mountain stream was extremely deep, and a poison fog lingered within it, causing one not to see its end. If one lifted one's eyes, one would see an endless mountain range behind this mountain stream. This mountain range was extremely tall, appearing like many huge dragons sleeping. An ancient and boundless aura spread from the mountains, lingering over the land. That place was the true ancient wasteland region. Xiao Yang gently exhaled as he studied the distant mountain range. His eyes were a little grave. He could vaguely sense many ferocious auras within the endless ancient mountain range. These auras caused even Xiao Yang to feel a danger. The ferocious beasts of this wasteland have survived isolated from the world. They have continued to propagate since ancient times and their strengths are extremely frightening. Although their intelligence cannot be compared to a magical beast of the same rank due to their violence, their strength is something that even magical beasts cannot compare with. That falling star pavilion's elder, Qing Cheng, softly sighed beside Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang nodded. He clenched his hand and a bead that contained an emerald color appeared in his palm. It was the Bodhisattva seed that had been precipitated from the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva from back then. This ancient wasteland region was extremely vast. It was not easy to find the location of the Bodhisattva ancient tree. Moreover, there was an endless number of ferocious beasts present. With their lineup, they would likely end up with a terrible fate if they were to randomly charge in. Xiao Yan held the Bodhisattva seed in his hand. He shut his eyes and carefully sensed the activity within the Bodhisattva seed. This continued for a while before he slowly opened his eyes. His look toward the northwest as he softly said, "This place is likely too far from the Bodhisattva ancient tree. I am unable to detect its exact location. However, from the little information that has been transmitted from the Bodhisattva seed, it should be in that direction. Let's go." Xiao Yang returned the Bodhisattva seed. He did not remain any longer, as he pressed his toes into the large rock. His body rose like a large bird. After which, he stepped through empty air and swiftly rushed to the other side of the mountain stream. Cai Lin's group followed behind him. This 1,000-foot gap might appear vast, but with the speed of Xiao Yang's group, they appeared on the other side in the blink of an eye. However, they had just reached the other side when a couple of beast roars suddenly rang out from the ground, and a couple of black figures carried a dense nauseating stench, as they pounced toward Xiao Yang in the air with lightning-like speed. Be careful. This sudden sneak attack caused Cai Lin and the rest to feel slightly startled. They hurriedly issued a warning. Bang bang. Xiao Yang's footsteps paused. There was no change in his expression. He waved his sleeve and a frightening wind swept apart, crashing into the black shadows. A couple of completely black, red-eyed, leopard-shaped ferocious beasts fell from the sky amidst a whin-a-being sound. It seems like there are many ferocious beasts in this region. We cannot fly over. Otherwise, we will attract the attention of some who have entered and also those troublesome fierce beasts. Kaylin slightly frowned and remarked. Xiao Yang nodded. The ferocious beasts in this place might not be very strong, but once they ventured in further, the beasts inside would become more difficult to deal with. Hence, he did not object and immediately landed on the ground. Some rushing sounds of wind were transmitted from behind after Xiao Yang's group landed. A couple of figures quickly arrived. They remained in the air and cautiously looked at Xiao Yang's group. Xiao Yang's eyes also glanced at the few figures. These people had all reached the Dozun class. However, the thing that surprised Xiao Yang was that these people were able to pass through the poison fog. Let's go. Xiao Yang did not place much focus on these people, nor did he intend to chat or travel with them. The aim of everyone in this place was the Bodhisattva ancient tree. Even if they were to cooperate, they would not be able to truly form an alliance. A group that constantly second-guessed each other was not something that Xiao Yang required. He waved his hand and his toes pressed on the ground as his body gently drifted into the distance. Cai Lin and the others swiftly followed. The few figures who had just arrived frowned when they saw Xiao Yang's group take off. However, they did not do anything. They could sense that Xiao Yang's group was stronger than them, and Xiao Yang's actions clearly indicated that he did not wish to get involved with them. Since this was the case, they could only change direction and continue their journey. Howl! A long violent beast roar, which came from within the ancient region, continuously echoed across the sky. Bang! A ferocious Do-Chi pillar suddenly shot out of the forest. After which, it ruthlessly collided with the body of a large ferocious beast. The potent poison in the pillar immediately eliminated the life force within the ferocious beast's body. Before the beast could emit a roar from its throat, its enormous body collapsed and shook the mountains. A couple of figures slowly walked out of the forest when this huge ferocious beast fell. They were Xiao Yang's group, who had entered the ancient wasteland region. Fortunately, these ferocious beasts' ability to resist poison isn't at a level that cannot be dealt with. The little fairy doctor looked at the completely blackened body of the ferocious beast, as she softly spoke. Let's rest for a while and wait for Elder Qing Cheng to return from scouting. Xiao Yang looked into the distance. Even though they had chosen to avoid ferocious beasts during their journey, they weren't able to completely avoid such battles. The allure of the Bodhisattva ancient tree is too great. Even those ancient clans will not easily give it up, much less those other large factions. However, we have not come across those groups from the large factions. The little fairy doctor sat on the rock by the side as she said, based on their strength and speed, it is likely that their current progress has been much faster than ours. Xiao Yan slightly nodded, but he was not in a hurry. If it was so easy to obtain a treasure like the Bodhisattva ancient tree, it would really humiliate its name. Even though there were many factions involved in the search, it was not possible to approach the Bodhisattva ancient tree within such a short period of time. The rushing sound of wind was suddenly transmitted from in front of Xiao Yan while he was musing in his heart. An elderly figure swiftly appeared in front of Xiao Yan's group. This figure was Elder Qing Cheng, who had went out to scout earlier. Elder Qing Cheng, how is it? Xiao Yan lifted his head and asked when he saw Elder Qing Cheng return. There is nothing overly dangerous in front of us, but I met a group. I quietly observed them. It seems that they are from the Profound Sky sect. Elder Qing Cheng replied. A group from the Profound Sky sect. Xiao Yan knit his brows upon hearing this name. It was unexpected that the first faction he came across after entering the ancient region was the Profound Sky sect, which he had developed ill feelings for. He had a major disagreement with them. A conflict would likely break out if he met them. I heard them talking while I was quietly observing them. Oh? Xiao Yan lifted his brow. His eyes landed on Elder Qing Cheng. There seems to be a group from another faction in front of them. They are planning to secretly finish off this group. Elder Qing Cheng laughed. There is no need to get involved. Let them bite each other. We will head our own way. Xiao Yan shook his head. These people really couldn't remain peaceful. They were still thinking of how to harm others at such a time, but he had just gotten up when he suddenly asked, which faction is the group in front from? They seem to be from the Flower sect. Elder Qing Cheng thought for a moment and replied. Flower sect. Xiao Yan's body suddenly stilled when he was getting up. His eyes gradually became gloomy. Since the Flower sect was here, he wondered if Yun was among them. If she was present, it would be impossible for him to stand aside and do nothing. These damn things. Junior Pavilion Chief, what do you plan to do? Elder Qing Cheng hesitated for a moment before asking when he saw Xiao Yan's face suddenly become gloomy. Attack, destroy the Profound Sky sect. Xiao Yan slowly stood up. His faint voice contained ice-cold murderous intent. He had not settled the score from the last time he was ambushed. Having met them this time around, he couldn't let them go no matter what. With lightning-like speed, a couple of figures rushed through the air above a mountain range permeated with an ancient aura. There was also a trace of misery vaguely present. Teacher, those fellows have definitely locked onto us. A pretty figure gently pressed against a tree branch. The figure rushed out as her pretty eyes glanced behind her. A worried expression filled those eyes. She turned her head and revealed a familiar pretty face. She was surprisingly Nalan Yangran. It was likely that no one else other than Yun would be addressed as teacher by Nalan Yangran. If one were to turn one's head to the side, there was a woman in a white dress beside Nalan Yangran. The woman's dress flapped with the wind as she flew. She emitted a noble appearance that was difficult to describe. Her pristine face caused the mountains to become a lot more beautiful. Who else could this appearance belong to other than Yun, who had become the chief of the Flower sect? These bastards from the Profound Sky sect actually launched a sneak attack while we were fighting with a ferocious beast, causing Elder Qinghua to die miserably to the ferocious beast. Once we return, we need to gather the full strength of our sect to fight to the death with the Profound Sky sect. A somewhat pale-looking old woman behind Yun furiously cried out. A trace of blood remained on the corner of her mouth. Clearly, she had experienced a big battle. We must not let off these bastards. The other few Flower sect's elders furiously cried out when they heard her words. Elders, now is not the time to talk about this. The Profound Sky sect is chasing us. It is clear that they intend to force us all to remain here forever. How will we engage in an all-out life and death battle with them if we cannot even escape this calamity? Yun shook her head as she inquired. The current her had gotten used to her status as the chief of the flower sect. Her words contained a certain prestige. Moreover, she had completely refined the do chi that Granny Hua had left her with Xiao Yan's help. Her actual strength had reached the 8th star of the do zun level. Hence, the elders behind her did not dare refute her words. All they could do was sigh and nod. Yun only turned her head after hearing the flower sect's elders become quiet. However, she knit her eyebrows slightly. The few grand elders of their flower sect were currently in a deep retreat. Hence, only a 9-star do zun elder was present in their group, but this elder had died from the combined attack of the profound sky sect and the ferocious beasts. Their party strength had declined, leading them to be chased by the profound sky sect to the point of being in such a miserable state. Teacher, there are 2 9-star do zun on the profound sky sect side. Moreover, they will likely catch up soon, given their speed. Nalan Yangran looked at Yun and whispered. Yun inclined her head a little. Her hand patted Nalan Yangran's shoulder and said, "When the time comes, teacher will fight and allow you to escape. Don't bother about anything else. The most important thing is to escape alive." "What about teacher?" Nalan Yangran involuntarily cried out upon hearing Yun's orders. "Being the sect chief of the flower sect, I will ultimately fight." Yun shook her head slightly. Her expression changed abruptly and her body suddenly paused. At the same time, she grabbed Nalan Yangran beside her and abruptly pulled her back. Bang! A sharp wind suddenly rushed from in front of her the moment Yun pulled back. The sharp wind turned the huge tree, which the two of them had been standing on earlier, into dust. "Sect Chief Yun, all of you will not be able to escape. Why do you still stubbornly resist? Moreover, it is your blessing to have our deputy sect chief covet you. At that time, you, teacher and disciple, can share a husband and become a great story." A deafening strange laugh soon followed after the wind rushed over. This caused Yun and Nalan Yenran's expressions to turn a little ugly. "Shameless scumbag." Nalan Yangran grit her teeth and furiously cried out. "This elderless elf likes this form of address." A black figure appeared in a flash on the tree branch in front of them. The figure was extremely tall but skinny. He appeared like a bamboo black-clothed old man. He lifted his head and strangely laughed at Nalan Yangran. The hurried sound of rushing wind also resounded behind Yun's group the moment this old man appeared to block them. Immediately, 10+ figures quickly stepped through the air and hurried over. Finally, they appeared on an empty plot of land behind Yun's group. "Ha ha, Sect Chief Yun. This chief has said that all of you will not be able to escape." Over 10 figures slowly stepped forward. The middle-aged man leading them had pale skin. He was wearing a grand purple robe, while his eyes were looking at Yun and Nalan Yangran a short distance away. His tongue involuntarily licked his lips. Such an exquisite teacher and disciple pair was really rare. If he were able to take them as his exclusive domain, he would likely be the envy of an unimaginable number of people, especially when the teacher was also the sect chief of the flower sect. "Liu Kang, are you planning to start a big war between the flower sect and the profound sky sect?" Yun's face was dark as she coldly cried out. "I don't really want to do that. Some old fellows who would not die that are in a retreat within the flower sect are indeed quite troublesome to deal with. Ha ha, but it doesn't matter. I will kill the rest and imprison the both of you in my profound sky sect. They will not know anything." That middle-aged man, who was called Liu Kang, replied with a smile. He, Deputy Chief, please hurry up and attack. Otherwise the situation might change if we delay. There are many ferocious beasts in this ancient wasteland region. Suffering a loss will be inevitable if we are discovered." A man carrying a purple fan behind Liu Kang smiled as he spoke. From his appearance, he was Yao Huoliangjun, who had attempted to kill Xiao Yan back then. It was unexpected that this fellow was so lucky. He had been able to survive despite being struck by He Qing's punch. Yao Hua is right. If Deputy Chief intends to strike, it is best not to tarry for too long. A shady-looking old man beside Yaohua Liangjun sinisterly laughed. Liu Kang faintly smiled and nodded when he heard these words. After which, he waved his hand and indifferently commanded, "In that case, let's strike. Kill everyone other than Yun Yun and her disciple." Understood. All the experts from the Profound Sky sect replied upon hearing Liu Kang's orders. Their bodies immediately moved together and surrounded everyone from the flower sect. Wave after wave of majestic Do Chi slowly erupted from their bodies. Yang ran. "I will break open a path. You should quickly leave." Yun Yun softly exhaled and spoke after seeing them be surrounded. "Teacher," Nalan Yangran tightly bit her lower red lip. Her hand tightly held a long sword. She inhaled a deep breath and said, "If teacher lands in their hands, there is no point in living. I would rather just die." "You child." Yun Yun was helpless when she heard Nalan Yangran be stubborn. She was aware that Nalan Yangran was prepared to die. If things turned out badly, it was likely that this teacher and disciple pair would end up remaining in this place forever. Attack! A cold cry suddenly sounded while Yun Yun was quietly sighing in her heart. Those experts from the Profound Sky sect around them, who were eagerly waiting, let out strange laughs. They charged toward the flower sect's group with lightning-like speed as powerful Do Chi erupted. Bang bang. Those flower sect's elders revealed some furiously green expressions when they were surrounded and attacked by the experts from the Profound Sky sect. They unleashed their Do Chi and charged forward without giving in, but their bodies were covered in injuries. Additionally, they had been fleeing during these few days. Their conditions were naturally inferior to those from the Profound Sky sect. Hence, they fell into a disadvantage after the first exchange. Boom. Yun Yun waved her hand. A vast and might Do Chi erupted and struck an expert from the Profound Sky sect until he spat out blood and withdrew. Soon after, another 2 experts attacked, causing her to have no choice but to meet them in battle. He, Sect Chief Yun Yun, it looks like you will still end up in our hands this time around. You can rest assured that I will definitely take good care of you when the time comes. Yaohua Liangjun hurriedly dodged Yun Yun's attack while he coldly laughed. Yun Yun's face was ice cold. The Do Chi within her body was stimulated to its limit. A palm wind whistled and covered her surroundings. In an instant, even the combined strength of the Profound Sky sect's 4 Dozuns were unable to break her defenses. Bang! While Yun Yun was doing her best to fight, a muffled sound was suddenly emitted from beside her. A lovely figure flew backwards as a mouthful of fresh blood was spat out. Yang ran. Yun Yun's expression drastically changed when she saw this figure. She curled her hand and a wind surged. It wrapped around Nalan Yenran's flying body. One must not be distracted while fighting others. 2 mysterious figures suddenly flashed and appeared behind Yun Yun while she was rescuing Nalan Yangran. Powerful palm winds slammed mercilessly into Yun Yun's shoulders. The sudden attack caused Yun Yun to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. Her body shot back and heavily collided with a large rock. Another muffled moan was emitted from her throat. Sect Chief Yun Yun, once you have been properly taught by the deputy chief, I will bring that little lover of yours to see you. Yaohua Liangjun revealed a lewd smile on his face. He slowly walked toward Yun Yun. His metal fan struck Yun Yun's lower abdomen in an extremely ruthless manner. Yun Yun clenched her teeth when she saw Yaohua Liangjun attacked. She unleashed the Do Chi from her body in order to meet him in a fight, but she was just about to act when a thunder-like wind-splitting sound was suddenly emitted from the sky and a dazzling golden light erupted. An enormous golden figure suddenly landed in front of her. Its huge fist was abruptly swung and smashed into Yaohua Liangjun's body with lightning-like speed. Its frightening strength turned the shocked-faced Yaohua Liangjun into mincemeat with just a punch. Shock surged onto the faces of the experts from the Profound Sky sect by the side when they suddenly saw Yaohua Liangjun turn into mincemeat. Their eyes were horrified as they stared at the enormous golden figure. Their bodies quickly pulled back. The dogs from the Profound Sky sect are still as unlikable as ever. The rumbling low voice from the golden human figure which was dozens of feet tall, slowly sounded after bursting Yao Huoliangjun apart with a punch. Liu Kang's expression gradually turned gloomy after hearing the low and deep voice of that golden human figure. This video will end here.